This is a recording of one of my live classes that we do in our membership. So if you want to see how I coach mobility, what mobility really is, because it is not stretching, jump in and try the class. There are a couple of prerequisites, which I have linked below. There are also some resource videos for some of the individual techniques, and you can find them below. Feel free to ask any questions. You can put them in the comments section, and we'll see you in class.
Good morning. Can everybody hear me? I'm hoping today's class will take about an hour. So we're going to dive into it right away because I want to make sure everybody can get to these techniques. And I've had a few emails saying, how long is class? Are we starting right on time? So we'll do an hour of class and then we can stick around for a Q&A for as long as people want. So this class is called a strategic mobility tune-up. There are a lot of people out there working really, really hard and not feeling the needle move, feeling things stick. And we know that stretching is not mobility training. We are going to do some releases, but the whole thing is releases, stretching. You can't finish with that. You have to go beyond that. And what really makes this stick is when you do your releases, get that blank canvas so you're not fighting yourself while you're doing your mobility training. But then we focus on how we support ourselves, our quality of stability. We build in the biomechanics. We have to teach our body how to use that new range. We want to get deep into our body. So it's very much about joint health and the structure. The structure is where a lot of the intelligence is. Muscle is very noisy, it talks to us a lot, but that is not where the intelligence is. We often call it a stupid piece of meat. It's a beautiful piece of meat. We love it for so many reasons, but going after the muscle is not what's really going to move that needle. We also have to get into your brain. So this is about changing your brain, those neural engrams, building brain maps so that when you're out there having fun, you don't have to think about engage here, lower the shoulders, head back. We want to change your brain. So we're going to do all of that in today's class with some of my favorite techniques. There's going to be some fun stuff. There's going to be some hard stuff, and then there'll just be some delicious things. It can feel really good. And so let's jump in. You have a few options. You want to wear toe spacers. That adds stimulation information from your foot, which you can stack that on today. If you want to wear your Core 360 belt, we're going to be talking a lot about internal pressures, where we're expanding. This gives you a bit of biofeedback, letting you know if you're getting it into those areas that we tend to lose it. To put on their nasal breathing for about a million reasons. Most of the time, we should be nasal breathing. Low, slow, quiet, nasal breathing. Certain times we won't, but otherwise just keep trying to come back to that. And we can talk about that in the Q&A at the end if you want to know those million reasons why that should be our default way of getting air into our body. And then bringing to class, one thing, top of mind today is going to be back body expansion. And I believe this is your permission slip for everything. So that ability, when you breathe in to get expansion there, not to be stuck chronically in this extended position. Again, for about a million reasons, all the other work we do will likely not stick if we're walking around stuck like this all day. And we can talk about that at the end too, if you want to go through why it's so, so important. So, back body expansion, I want you to feel what that is. So, we're going to start with our first technique. This is in DNS what we call a first position or modified first position. You're just going to need basically child's pose. You see me do it a lot. You want something across your lap to block your front ribs. If you can't access child's pose, you can do this in a chair, but I want you to get whatever prop you have. Some people use a ball, some people use a block. You could use a yoga bolster. I just love a pillow, but you want to get it in there. And then you're just going to drape yourself over it, snuggle in. There should be no discomfort, no pain with this. You can relax your head. And this is where you're going to try to do your nasal breathing low. So always try to bring the air low. We want back body expansion, but you want to make sure you're connecting to your pelvis. Rib cage and pelvis need to feel each other. These pressures are inseparable. They're all in there. So when you breathe in, you should try to fill your pelvis first. You can think about filling your underwear, your back pockets, right in there. You can actually put your hands there, and you should feel when you breathe in that there is this spreading. 100% there should be some expansion back here in that tight area when you breathe in. But what we really want to connect to and feel is this back body expansion. So you need to feel it if you're going to take it to class, have it top of mind when we do everything from our kin stretch techniques to our PRI techniques. So feeling that those ribs are moving backwards. There's on that breath in, some expansion, some backward movement there. You want to use as little effort as is possible. You want to keep this out of your neck and your shoulders. There's no rushing this. We'll probably spend just one more minute here, but it is not wrong to spend 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Everything else we do will just be better if we get a nice amount of back body expansion. So trying to think about slow but quiet in through the nose, bringing it low. And the air should have no choice but to go backwards into the ribs. So that's this internal pressure that is so important for supporting us, for mobility, for airflow. We need this if we're going to position our diaphragm properly, if we're going to integrate our core, get out of our back extensors, balance those forces of abdominals and back extensors. Let's all do one more breath. Just relaxed breath out. Nice. Okay. We want to take that feeling with us, and we're going to do rock back breathing. So, rock back breathing, we have the option of putting something between our arms, but basically, put our forearms on the ground, palms up, start in a stacked position. So, rib cage and pelvis stacked. We don't want to be in extension. You can add a little serratus reach, which is that push through the arms to retract the rib cage so it's stacked up over the pelvis. And if your shoulder doesn't like this position, that's where some people like to have a block or a water bottle or something between their arms. So, whichever your body feels good with. And then you are going to rock backwards, push through your arms to push you back. And you need to know at what point do you lose it and go into extension. We want to keep that back body expansion. So, you are fighting with your abdominals and serratus anterior to stay stacked, and you are fighting against your pec, your lats, your bossy back extensors. So this is a massive rivalry, and we want to go there and try to understand this, balance this one out, find the edge, because this is going to be something that tries to disrupt a lot of the things we do in class. So when you're at your end range, you are going to take a breath in, and you should feel some very tight expansion in this back body. That's your thoracolumbar fascia, lats, back extensors, intercostals that are often tight. And then when you breathe out, I want you to hold on to your abs and push yourself back a little further. You won't be able to go far. If you do, you've probably lost the stack and that back body expansion. And let's just do maybe 3 more breaths here. So you breathe in, feel that expansion. And then breathe out, push back, and see if you can squeeze out half a millimeter, anything. You'll probably feel lines of tension around your shoulders. Again, lats, pec. You might be feeling your back. Let's do one more breath in at that end range. Your abs are not optional, they should be on. They're helping to hold you stacked. Nice. Getting expansion where we don't usually get it. And then breath out, push back. And you can breathe out through your mouth if you want, purse your lips. That'll help get a little bit more abdominal activation. and then relaxing. You can come out of this. So really nice for targeting that specific rivalry. Now, another inverted position. I love inversions. We're doing this strategically because inversions help position our diaphragm, dome it, helps to ascend the pelvic floor. It just a lot of benefits for changing internal pressures. We're going to do a posterior glide of our hip, another one of the bossiest areas in our body. So this is a joint mobilization. You want to make sure that your knees are comfortable. So I like a towel or some sort of padding, maybe a pillow. And in this position, we're going to start stacked. So as much as you can. Good. Abdominals are on. You are then going to drop down. So we're getting even more of an inversion. I usually like palms up. That helps to inhibit pec and lat that turn us in. A little bit of a serratus push again, which again is kind of about retracting the rib cage. So it works with the abdominals to help keep that pelvis and rib cage stacked. It isn't so much about rounding, although you are allowed to round as much as you need to feel the back body expansion, but we want as little as possible. So with this, I'd love to not have you really rounded, but if you need to be rounded in order to feel back body expansion, go for it. That is our first priority is making sure that we have that back body expansion. And then we can start to, instead of being rounded, just be, we call it retracted, where you just move the rib cage back, not rounding it. So in this position, though, you are then going to take your left leg and you are going to bring it across the right one. So you should be starting to feel right now that there is a little bit of a stretch in this posterior hip, posterior pelvic outlet, posterior pelvic floor. If you don't feel it, you can go a little bit to the side, to the right side, the target hip, or you can go a little bit back. I don't want any pinching in the hip though, ever with any of these techniques. But if you drop back into pigeon, you've totally lost it. We want a joint glide. We want the ball to reposition and nestle deep into the socket. And there are a lot of hips that are sitting forwards, causing pinching, wear and tear. That's where the majority of the wear and tear with arthritis, labral tears tend to be, that anterior superior medial part of the hip joint. So we are just breathing here, relaxing, staying stacked, getting a beautiful capsular mobilization. So every breath out, just try to think about being heavier. Let that ball sink into the socket. Beautiful. Staying stacked. Can you still feel your back body expansion? Still trying to get nasal breaths if possible. Repositioning the ball and socket joint. Nice. All right, and then we're going to gently bring that leg out. Wiggle it out for a moment. Reset. So a little bit of core, a little bit of serratus reach, which is that retraction. Round if you need to. I need you to feel back body expansion, not be going into extension, or that's going to just turn on all of these hip muscles at the back. And then crossing the right leg over the left, and just see, what does this feel like? We are usually very asymmetric. So making note of where things are tighter on one side versus the other. And then maybe making a note to do an extra set or an extra rep on the sides that are tighter is always a really good idea. A little bit more time. Still melting, but still controlling the stack. I'm just checking myself to make sure because I do love going into extension. So a little bit of core, a little bit of serratus reach. Make sure you're getting some back body expansion and then getting heavy through that hip. Again, you can go a little bit towards the target side. You can go a little bit back, go and find that stretch on you. There are some hypermobile people out there who don't have a line of tension here, and you might not need this. but most people do. You can close your eyes. Just the feeling here is so good for your brain. So you want to focus on this opening and lengthening through the back of your hip is something that we really have to fight for to make this easily accessible. There's a lot of gripping back there, and just feeling this will change that brain map. So closing your eyes, easy breath in. You can think about breathing that air into the back pocket. That's intra-pelvic pressure. Nice. Let's do one more breath. Nice. And then gently bringing that leg back over and coming out of it. Okay. That is as much as you get for releases at the moment for this pelvis and ribcage area. Now we are going to train it and work on biomechanics. So we're going to bring in our PRI techniques, which is very much about positioning. So we're going to go to the wall and do a adductor pullback. You're going to line your right side. So I'm just going to position you this way. I like a pillow under my knees or under my head, and I like something under my feet. So sometimes I use a weight, sometimes I use a block, but ideally the feet should be a little higher than the knees. Hips and knees are going to be at 90, and we're just going to snuggle in like this. Okay, like a 90-90 position in DNS. So feet on the wall, good, something underneath them, pillow, block, something. Doesn't need to be perfect, but ideally knees below feet and hips. Then thinking about quality of stability. So our rib cage, we want to make sure it is retracted so you can use your abdominals. Plus to see, do you have some back body expansion? Will be a little bit there. Lovely. And then we are going to, on the breath in, slide the top knee back. So this is a scissor slide. So breathing in, hold it back. And on the breath out, you're going to use your abdominals, breathe out, and try to drive the top knee down into the bottom. Now, we don't want any pinching or cramping in the hip. If you feel that, just come out a little bit, but you'll probably feel something in your adductors, adductors. That's what we're going with. And we're going to stay here. So keeping this knee back as far as you can, make sure that rib cage stays back. You're breathing in and trying to keep that hip back in the socket into this area that we just opened. We're trying to train it. And then breathe out, abdominals through the mouth. Let me hear you. A strong exhale and then drive down. Abdominals, adductor. That is a massive team that supports your pelvis, your alignment, your hip. Let's do another one here. Breathing in, pulling back if you can. Quiet through the nose and then breathe out. Try to breathe out all the way. A lot of us never actually breathe out. And when you breathe out, that's what positions the diaphragm. Driving down, and then relax. And you can let that come out. Now, you do have the option of putting something between your knees if you didn't really feel that. Adductors rarely work in this position, which is why when we bring it back and we teach it to hold that hip in the socket, we sometimes get this cramping, we get pinching. So we're training it to hold and position our joint in a different way. So sometimes if you put something between your knees, a towel, your hand, even a block, you can get your adductor to come out and play a little bit more because often it just doesn't connect and work in that position. So we're going to do one more, 3 to 5 breath cycles. Make sure ribcage and pelvis are stacked. You have your back body expansion, and you are going to breathe in, quiet through the nose, and pull that knee back. When you breathe out, abdominals loud all the way and drive that knee down. Find your greatest, safest effort. No pinching, no cramping, all the way out, teaming up this group of muscles. Breath in, pull back. This is a hip shift. Nice. Breathing out. You need this for walking And most of us don't have that beautiful sinusoidal biomechanics that we want. Good. Let's do a couple more. Breath in, breath out. Nice. I can feel my adductor, but it's not screaming. It's working though. One more. And out. And we want to notice how much of a hip shift we have. So that we're going to compare when we do on the other side. However, we're going to do the opposite motion. So your body should be able to hip shift here, but it should also be able to hip shift here. This is walking. So we need a different set of muscles. If you are, so this is going to be your side lying glute max. So glute max, when we shift over onto the right side, the left glute max is our shifter. It's what turns our pelvis, our sacrum. You can, if you want, band this. So it would go, I'll pop it on here. But if you haven't done this technique before, don't bother with the band, first of all. All right, so kind of the same setup. Ribcage and pelvis stacked. The only thing that is different is you to have a mouse hole underneath these ribs. So I want you to lift your ribs up. Those are your obliques that'll be doing that. So there should be a hole here. Then you are going to slide this knee forwards this time. If you want to use this hand to help you get that mouse hole, keep that rib cage back as well. Hold that back body expansion. You're totally welcome to, but then you are going to lift this knee up. And you should feel some stuff on the bottom hip. You should also be feeling some things on the top hip. And we're just going to breathe here. Breath in, need your back body expansion. Breath out, more abdominals. See if you can shift forwards a little more. Keep this horizontal if you can. That's targeting glute max on this side. Good. A couple more. Breath in, back body expansion. Quiet in through the nose. Breath out all the way. Use your abdominals. It can be out through the mouth or it can be through the nose, but I want you to breathe out all the way. Do one more. Breath in and out. And lower down. Shift back. Notice how hard both of those were. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So take your block or whichever you had. And if you need it, I'm just going to move you over here. Good. All right, so we're in this 90-90. We want our head comfortable. And you want your feet, ideally, a little higher up than your knees. Good. All right, we want our rib cage back, retracted, stacked over the pelvis. Lovely. And we're going to compare. So on this side, if you take that breath in and plug the knee back. So this is that scissor slide. Good. Plugging it into these tight muscles that we just opened up, but we need to teach how to actually use this space and team up the muscles to work there. And then when you breathe out, thinking about driving the top knee down. So you can already see I have way more of a hip shift on this side than I have on the other side. I also have a bunch of things going on this side, so I have to work on my hip shift here. But I really want to try to get that left hip shift equal to the right. We're always trying to move towards symmetry. So keep breathing in, pull back, breathe out, drive down. Keep the rib cage back. Nice. You can use your hand or something if that feels better to you. You want to feel your adductor. You want to know that there's something there. There's some strength. Breath in, hold that knee back. Breath out, crush. Use the abdominals, draw those ribs down, full breath out. One more. I feel like I just got a good connection there. And then relax, shake it out, and then we'll do one more set. All right, so stacking ribcage and pelvis first. Good, make sure you have that back body expansion. There's something happening back there. And then breath in, you're gonna pull that knee back. Breath out, you're gonna crush, drive the knee down as you exhale, using your abdominals, drawing those ribs down. And let's do 3 to 5 of these. You can go at your own pace. I do love breathing out from the bottom up. If you're one of those people who tends to lose pelvic floor, lose the lower abdominals, you can breathe out starting with a Kegel, that draw together and lift. That is part of your core. One more breath cycle. Pulling back, try to keep it back. And then releasing. Good. Then our side lying glute max. Tubing is optional. And basically the same setup, except we need this mouse hole. So now instead of shifting this direction, we're shifting that way. So we need the whole rib cage, the pelvis, everything to rotate and commit to that side. So that's why we use our obliques and abdominals to lift that rib cage up. There should be a hole there. You are 100% welcome to put your hand here to get more abdominals to hold the rib cage back. Beautiful. And then in this position, you are going to slide this knee first forward. Good. And that is that left AFIR, left hip shift. And then see if you can lift up. And then we just breathe. Breath in through the nose into that back body. Breath out. Try to breathe out all the way. You can breathe out through your nose or your mouth. Often a little easier to get more abdominal activation when you breathe out through the mouth and purse your lips. This is way harder for me, which is typical. The right glute max is usually harder than the left. Breath in. Now hold one more. Make sure you still have that mouse hole. You're directing internal pressures and forces where we want them. And then breath out. You can relax that knee down, come out of the shift, shake it out. Pretty much on everyone, there is going to be, this will be a little bit harder. So let's just do one more set here. Even if you have layers on top of it, it's always good to know what is your body fighting against, because we do have layers from injuries, from sports, from hobbies, from work, but almost everyone will have a harder time getting onto that left side. So setting up one more time, bring the ribs back. Use your hand if you want to get that mouse hole. I need that rib cage lifted off the ground. You're gonna slide that right knee forwards. You're gonna lift that knee up, and we're breathing. Easy breath in, back body extension. Breath out. We're gonna breathe out all the way. I love breathing out from the bottom up again. Bring in that pelvic floor. It should ascend as you breathe out. Couple more. You can close your eyes again. Eyes don't help you. We're trying to rewire your brain. One more. Oh, yeah. Letting it come back down. Getting rid of that shift. All right. So those are 2 positioning biomechanics drills for pelvis and ribcage and hip. And what we are going to do now is just go in and beef up support a couple of those muscles that are so important that tend to get weak. Adductors and obliques. So I love these as a quick sort of strength hit. We are going to do an adductor lift off with obliques. So we're going to use that mouse hole that we just used. Let's stay on this left side. and go say hello to this team. So get your head as comfortable as is possible. So I do like having a pillow. I want something, a block, underneath your top leg. And you're going to drive down into it, which will actually pull in the adductor on the top side. This arm can be right here to help you get that nice little mouse hole, or it can be out in front of you. But let's help engage all of these muscles around the rib cage to position it the way we want it. Now, our target leg is this bottom one. And ideally, you want it straight, not stuck in front. We want to train it in that position. So you are driving down here, driving down with your arm, trying to keep this rib cage back body expansion, and fight for this mouse hole. Then you're going to, and you can't see it right now, but I have my foot dorsiflex. It's not just hanging out there loose. It's locked in there. Good. And then I'm going to try to lift this up as high as is possible without losing my mouse hole. This is support, support. And we are here for at least 20 seconds. Keep questioning. Can you breathe out and lift that leg a little bit higher? So this is your greatest, safest effort. What can you do? Try not to have that leg come forward. We want to keep it back in line with our body, and you're holding. Adductors are the number one muscle that are associated with a pain-free, well-functioning hip. These guys are so gold for positioning the hip and controlling it. Good. Let's do a couple more breath cycles here. Every breath out. Fight for that mouse hole. Use this arm if you want. Drive this down. Good. And lift, 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 lift. And then slow ascent. Descent. Coming down. Good. Nice. Adductors. Now we're going to take this up into a side plank and work on our obliques a little bit more. So with this, I'm going to encourage everybody to have their knees bent because it is just so much easier to get a good stack. So first thing is, let's lift those ribs up so that everything is neutral. We want to have a nice straight line on both sides, not hanging down. And then retract that rib cage. Then in this position, and we do want a nice strong shoulder as well, not letting it come up to our head and ears. So good for shoulder strength. Good. And then you're going to lift your hip up. I want everybody to rotate slightly forwards because we want to target those obliques that help to get that back body expansion. When we straighten ourselves up, we almost always, well, we don't get a really good oblique connection and we tend to be in our back extensors, and we want to balance that out. So you're slightly rotated, strong shoulders still. If you're doing well, bring this top leg up. That'll make it a little bit harder. And we're going to try to be here for at least another 20 seconds. Can you feel that back body expansion? If you're doing well, you could do a little tap. So don't unload, but just tap and come up, teaching these muscles at the side to lengthen. That's eccentric, but you can also just hold here. The priority is obliques working, strong shoulder, back body expansion, support. Obliques are what we need to bring those ribs down, to position the diaphragm, which is core breathing and efficient movement. Good. And then lowering down. Okay. So just getting a little bit of strength training oomph into these muscles that we want to connect, know how to use, but let's like get them stronger. We're only doing one set of this, but you are welcome to do 2 or 3. So down to our adductors. So get yourself comfortable. I want a block under that top leg so you have something to fight against. Good. I want this bottom leg as straight as is possible, but I still want this here. So if you bring your leg back and you're going to that extended position again, we're not done. This is what we prioritize, and just bring that leg back as far as you can without compromising quality of stability. Then mouse hole. So pressing down or like this, whichever feels best to you. And try to lift those ribs and weight them off the ground a little bit at least. And then on the breath out, see if you can lift your leg off the ground. Strong dorsiflexion, driving in here, driving down there. And we're just going to breathe and endure. Every breath in, check on that back body expansion. Every breath out, how are your mouse hole? How are your obliques? Can you lift that leg a little bit higher up? Reshaping you, supporting you, holding. To keep going. Is that leg coming forwards? Can you migrate it back a little bit without losing that back body expansion? Just do what you can here. Let's go for 10 more seconds. Nice. Nice. And lowering down. Good. Then up into our side plank. Strong shoulder, rib cage back, and lift it. So we want that cylinder. Coming up, slightly rotating forward so that we're getting those obliques, which help to get that back body expansion. It's that tension in the front that allows for the expansion in the back. Good. Then if you're okay, add a little load, lift that leg. Take inventory, make sure you're doing okay. This might be good enough. Or you could try a couple of these taps, which are beautiful for getting length through this part of the hip that tends to get super jammed up. Eccentric, so slowly lowering down, coming back up. Good. Holding there. Check on your back body expansion. Let's go for another 10 seconds. Strong shoulder. Leg up if you want. Nice. Feel that back body expansion. And on the breath out, more abdominals. Elbows back, rib cage back. And then lowering down. Okay, support. So we've done some releases. We've done some positioning. We've supported ourselves. All of those things tend to turn off bossy muscle. They work really, really well for inhibiting bossy muscle. But now we're going to go after a few of the muscles that do talk to us. So we are going to do a kin stretch, sleeper, tails and rails. So that is this one where, so you're going to be on your back. You can have a pillow for your head. You're going to start stacked. Feet, usually I suggest are a little wider than hips, but you have an option here. You can do them closer. You can do them wider. What we're going to do, staying stacked, is let our hips roll to the side. You don't want to let your body go into back extension. You want to stay stacked, but this hip does come off the ground as long as you're staying stacked. Good. And on most people, there's some individuals, depending on femur length and torso length, where it might not hip mobility. But what you should be feeling is a little bit of a line of tension across the front of the hip. We're just going to breathe here. Now you can add a little weight as long as you stay stacked. If you're feeling this in your back at all, you know you've offloaded stability into your back. You're compressing there. I need more abdominals. There is the option with this one to start in this position. It's just way easier to stay stacked. Option. It's a little tougher on the shoulders for some people. But with our kin stretch techniques, we just want to use our parasympathetic breathing and try to get to our true end range. So normally when you bring a muscle into end range position, there's tension there. Neurologically, we are wired that way. After about 20 seconds, that gamma motor tone is reset, the stretch tolerance increases, and it lets you have a little more range. So we're just hanging out here to work through that neurological tension. And then there's the stress strain curve of collagen. Collagen has a crimp angle in it, and it just takes a little bit of time to get to that true end range. And then we hit it with our pails and rails, which are our isometrics from kin stretch to really change tissue quality. They're pain meds, so they decrease pain. They're anti-inflammatory. They improve tissue quality. They're great for brain mapping. And we've kind of been here for a minute or so, so we should be at our end range. So this is where then staying really strong here. We call this irradiation, that we want the other body parts to be really locked down strong, some intensity in the muscles. And then we are going to try to drive our right knee up into the left foot. So that's an isometric. There's no movement, but that is that motion. We're going to do it for 10 seconds. Your greatest, safest effort, pushing up That creates an anti-inflammatory, decreases pain, increases tissue tolerance. Core is number one, though. This should be number one. And you're trying to drive up, but just do what you can. Keep it out of your back. Lovely. 3, 2, 1, and then release. And then we're going to do the opposite, a rails, which means you're going to try to take this right knee and pull it down to the floor. So that is your adductors again. Those are those muscles on the inside. We want to control this hip three-dimensionally. So this is the tough one. Core is still zone one. This has to be most intense. Keep it out of your back and just trying to search that knee down to the floor. End range strengthening. Nice. 3, 2, 1. Release. Take that foot off. Bring this up here. Be nice to yourself. Whew. And let's do the same thing on the other side. So this one, please go gently, especially if you haven't done this before. Start with pelvis and ribcage stacked. I would say start with feet just a little bit wider than hip or hip width apart. And then just notice, what does it feel like keeping core zone one when you let your knees go to this side? We're just going to hang out here, work through that neurological tension, work through the mechanical tension, biological tension, and then get to our true end range before we do our isometrics. You have the option of adding a little bit of a stretch there, but keep it out of your back. This needs to be as intense as what's going on back here. We want to balance these forces. If you offload pressure into or stability into the back extensors, you're probably going to feel it in your back. So this is an option. And you're just calming your breathing. Lengthen the exhale. This is parasympathetic, so nasal breathing is good. And just trying to get to your true end range. And then you are going to drive that left knee up into your foot. There's no movement. This is still 100% zone one, but you are trying to engage that tissue at its end range position, which really teaches your brain about that motion. It's very inhibitory. It's the fastest way to release muscle, that end range strength, because often we are very weak at end range. 3, 2, 1. Relax. And then rails, which is the opposite. You're going to try to pull your knee down to the floor. It's searching for the floor, but don't let this go. This has to 100% be the strongest, bossiest thing in your body. We don't want this to disrupt your ribcage and pelvis position. And these are strong muscles. So it's an internal tug of war here. 3, 2, relax. Good. Now we're going to still target these muscles on the front that are so bossy sometimes, but a different way. We're going to do a hip extension, lift off and prone. Hip extension. Most people don't even have zero. Most people have a little bit of a restriction in hip extension. So if we are going to target end range, we know end range is where things fall apart. That is the hardest place to keep your core stacked, keep your joints neutral. So I would suggest everybody puts at least a pillow underneath their belly so that you're not in absolute extension to start with, because our technique here is going to involve trying to go into extension. And if you're already extended, we've lost your core, you're in your back extensor. So I can feel it already. I want to be not already in back extension. So I'm going to double up my pillow here so that I'm a little more rounded to start. And then when I go into hip extension, the trick is I don't want to move here when I bring my hip into extension. So if in doubt, put 2 pillows under your belly, put 3 pillows under your belly so that you're not already at your end range. Okay, so to set this up, I do encourage your head under or on your hands. I want you to almost drive your elbows down into the ground, which will help get your rib cage to come back. So you want to lift your rib cage off the pillow a little bit. That's your abdominals, that's serratus. Good. You are going to, and actually, let's let this leg go down. You are going to try to search your tailbone down to the floor. Maybe press your pubic bone down into the floor. You are really trying to unweight the ribs in the front. You want to not be in an extended back. You want maybe even slightly rounded. Good. So core is on. Your body is strong. You are then going to bend your left knee. Let's bend the left ankle too. And this is what we call a radiation. We have all of this lovely muscle activity to help stabilize our body, to get our brain's attention. And then you are going to try to take half the weight of your leg off the ground. So your thigh is going to try to lift up without letting your back extend. All right, good. If you're doing okay there, you're going to try to lift all of your weight of your leg off of the ground. Good. Glute is on, but fight. Get that tailbone down to the ground. Try to keep the ribs lifted off the pillow. We want hip extension, not back extension. Keep going. 3 more seconds. 2, 1. Relaxing down. Unbend the leg, and let's try the other side. Wiggle it out a little bit. And then let's reset. So rib cage lifted off the ground. You can use your arms pushing in to help. Tailbone down to your feet. Good. Pubic bone pressing into the ground. We want to really get our abdominals at least as active as those back extensors. Then bend your right knee. Strong ankle, dorsiflexed. And then just see, core is on. Arms are driving down. Glute is on. You can have it on both sides. You can even drive this left leg down into the floor. Use everything you've got and see if you can lift a little bit of the weight of that right leg off of the ground and keep it out of your back. No back extension. If you feel that that's your end range, stay there. If you feel like you can go a little higher without going into back extension, go for it. Breathe. Nice. Good. Keep going. We're aiming for maybe another 5 seconds. More core. Lift those ribs off. I want to feel that back body expansion still. That's your permission slip. This is a massive tug of war. And then lowering down. Nice. Relaxing. Good. Okay, we're going to move out of that one into our 90-90, but we're going to do a 90-90 breathing first. So 90-90 breathing. We're setting up on our left hip, left leg in front at about 90 degrees. You're going to post out to the side though. Nice strong shoulder. We are going to do a hip shift, which means you're going to rotate this right hip around as much as is possible. We want to keep rib cage and pelvis stacked. Good. If that pelvis is rotated as far as it can, which is that hip shift, keeping this rib cage and pelvis stacked, you are going to bring this arm around, rotate through your rib cage, and try to put your hands on the ground. We're doing a little bit of a serratus push to keep that rib cage back. So hilarious. I always feel pops and clicks and little shifts in here. Lots of them happening today. This is that superficial backline, that oblique chain, so the posterior oblique chain that goes through your glutes, the back of your pelvis, your thoracolumbar fascia, your lats. We are often very asymmetric in this right to left. So we're just cleaning up this line of tension. You should, if you take a breath in, be able to feel back body expansion. Nice. And you're just breathing. As you breathe, you might be able to rotate the pelvis a little more. Keeping the rib cage back, you might be able to rotate the rib cage a little more. And just breathing. Good. Do one more breath. I can just feel it expand under this really, really tight spot back here. Um, this should be one of those delicious techniques. Okay, we can unwind. Coming into our 90-90, we're going to do a kin stretch to do our isometrics to the back of this left hip. You have the option of hands on the ground. You have the option of sitting on a pillow or two if you feel like you're off to the side. You can use your hand off to the side. But what we're going to do is try to do a pure hip hinge. So pelvis and ribcage stay stacked, core is on, and we're going to hinge over our lead leg. Nice. Now we've already released a bunch here. So usually we spend a minute releasing, but we're going to go right into our isometrics because we've spent a lot of time releasing the back. So snuggle into it. Think about that hip sitting back in the socket. You want to bow the stretch out the back. Good, but keep ribcage and pelvis nice and connected here. Good. And then you have the option of keeping the hands on the ground, or you could take your hands off, but what we're going to do is irradiate, which means tension everything else in your body. Tall spine, shoulders wide, arms are strong. Good. You're driving this knee, shin, foot into the ground, which engages that tissue at the back of this hip. This is this isometric. Our pain meds, our anti-inflammatories, improve tissue quality, teach our brain about that area that is just so locked down and inaccessible often. Again, we're isometricing. So that's not a word, but we are here not moving. We're just engaging. Force is the language of cells. If you can take your hands off, awesome. Drive down even further if you want. It's meeting your body where it is at. Then you're going to bring your hands back down if they weren't on the ground. Relax, and then see if you can go a little deeper into it. And again, end range strengthening is one of the fastest ways to relax muscle. Often it'll let you access a bit more. So still core on, irradiate, which just means I want your core on, I want your shoulders strong, I want your legs strong, pushing into the ground. We just want all of this muscle activity, which helps on our neural drive, gets our brain more attention, we get faster neuroplasticity. And then driving with all of your effort, knee, shin, foot into the ground. So we usually say at least 80%. So try to ramp up. Are you at 50, 60, 70, 80? If you can take your hands away, awesome. End range strengthening, teaching your body how to access this muscle at a lengthened position. 3 more seconds, 2, 1, hands come back down, release, and then come back out of it. And let's do the same thing on the other side. So we're flipping around and we're going to do our low or 90-90 breathing first. So just arm out to the side. This is definitely my tighter side. Snuggle into it. Legs can be about 90-90, but can be closed in a bit if you want to. We are going to take this pelvis and we're going to shift it around this front leg. This is this hip shift. This is AFIR, the pelvis moving around the femur, acetabulum, that's the socket moving around the femur. Once you're at end range, then making sure you're still stacked, that you haven't gone into extension. You can feel back body expansion, then you can rotate through the whole spine, rib cage, and bring your hands on the ground. A little bit of a push because those abdominals need serratus to help scoop the rib cage back, support it so we don't go into that back extension. And then you're just breathing. Quiet breath in through the nose, but you should feel back body expansion. I love breathing low. So again, breathing in, it's always good to go low first, but feel back body expansion. And then breathing out, it's always good to breathe out from the bottom up. Pelvic floor is part of your core. It is the floor. And as you hang out here, you may find that you can rotate a little more. Yeah, good. Maybe rotating through the rib cage, but keeping that back body expansion. Nice. One more breath cycle. Not as popping clicky on this side as it was on the other side. Right. Coming out of that position, we are going to try for isometrics in this 90-90. So I would suggest start with hands on the ground. You want to keep yourself stacked. Good. And then where is your end range on this side? So tight on this side. People think that I'm not at my end range. I am. I have a of hip labral tear, hip arthritis actively in this right side. When I do these, it's very happy. It stays quiet, but I do have a project. This is not a normal hip. It's been like this for about 20 years and haven't had to have a hip replacement. I'm pretty happy about that. But you may be going quite a bit further. A lot of people can go further than me. This is my end range. Thanks. And we've already released it. So we're going to do our isometric. So in this position, core is on. Get your shoulders strong. You can press your arms into the ground if you want. You're going to drive your knee, your shin, your foot into the ground. Good. So we have lots of muscle activity here at this end range position. And we are going to do 10 seconds of driving the knee, the shin, the foot down, 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 down. You got it. You got it. You got it. Nice. 5 more. Your greatest, safest effort. Get past that 50% mark. Try to get to the 80% mark. And then releasing. Shake it out a little bit. And then just see, can you access a little more range? But we are not rounding. We have a tall, straight spine, shoulders proud. This is a pure hip hinge. You want to bow that stretch out the back into that tight muscle. Beautiful. And then lock this in. Core is on. This is that irradiation. Shoulders strong. Good. And then drive the knee, the shin, the foot into the ground. We have 10 seconds. Go. Good. 9, 8, 7. Your greatest, safest effort. Good. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release. And then come on out of it. Now, let's go in and just do a nice, easy cat-cow. So hands under your shoulders, knees under your hips, and let's just go into maximum flexion because we've been twisting our spine. We've gone into some very asymmetric positions. And I just want you to think segmentally. So starting at the bottom. So your tailbone is down to the ground. Your head is down to the ground. You're in maximum flexion. You can use your hands. Your abdominals are on. I want you to think L5. Is it all the way up to the sky? If my finger was on it, can you press it up a little higher? L4. So just going segmentally up your spine. Where are the spots that are a little stickier? And I have a very flat spot right in here. Is that lock that always happens on me? Nice. Every breath in, you can round and expand. Every breath out, more abdominals. And then relaxing. And let's go down into extension. So tailbone up to the sky. Head up to the sky. Everything else falls down. Nice. Good. So again, just thinking segmentally. This isn't one big chunk. You have 17 segments from the top of your pelvis to the base of your neck. And then you have 7 segments in your neck. Let each of them fall. Nice. And then coming back out of it. Now, kneeling or sitting, I'm going to get you to put your hands on your chest, try to get some skin, and you're going to pull down a little bit. We are going to go target these really tight muscles in our neck, accessory muscles of breathing. They pull our head forwards, shoulders forwards, and they lift our ribs. So then we have to work so much harder to get our rib cage down to get that back body expansion. So we're pulling down. We want our rib cage down. And then keeping the back of your neck tall, you are going to try to lift your chin up to the sky. And boom, you should feel tension here. And we're just going to spend a few moments. Really try to keep the wrinkles out of your neck. Stay tall with this. Don't collapse into it. Stay tall. And every breath out, just try to pull the ribcage down a little. When you breathe out, the ribcage should come down. Couple of breaths here. Easy breath in. No wrinkles in your neck. Breath out. One more. And stay tall as you come out of this. Move your hand over to the right side. Same thing. Sticky and pull down. Tall neck. And then you're going to bend away from that side. And then bring your head back a little bit. and boom, you should feel some tightness in the front. You're allowed to rotate if you want, just to fine tune it. And then a couple of breath cycles here where we stay tall. I don't want you to feel any pinching in your neck, but on the breath out, pull down. Full breaths here. Nasal breath in. Stay tall as you come out of it. Come over to the other side. Pull down. Tall neck. Side bend first. And then extend a little bit. Coming backwards. Boom. You should feel something. Fine tune it with rotation if you want. And then let's breathe. Stay tall as you come out of it. Relaxing down onto the floor for a spinal twist. So you're going to go into your left side. And hips and knees bent to 90. Good. That will keep it out of our low back, isolate it more to the rib cage, which is what we want. Both hands in front of you. And you're just going to start by reaching that top arm forwards. Now, we want that rib cage back so that it opens up that back area. So we should be able to feel back body expansion. Nice. Just a couple breaths here. Got it. Keep that ribcage and pelvis stacked. Don't go into extension. And then you're going to pull back and we're doing a bow and arrow. So you're tracing this arm back as far as it can, shoulder blade back, arm back. And then if you feel okay, you can open up. No shoulder pain. Also, check on that back body expansion. These muscles can drag the ribcage with you. I want you to have enough core tone, and you're welcome to even help support with locking in this arm if you want, but I need back body expansion. You will also get apical expansion. You have lungs right up in there, but we don't want it at the price of compressing our rib cage in the back, that posterior mediastinum. Now you can also cactus the arm, which just means bend the elbow and go for a little explore. We call this like a cactus angel. Where is the tightest spot on you? Most of us will be about there. So it's not with the elbow at shoulder height, it's slightly above. Really make sure that didn't pop your ribs. You can feel your back body expansion and maybe a couple breaths here. Or you can stay in the bow and arrow position. This is about where is your line of tension here, what feels good, as long as you're not compromising your quality of stability. I need that back body expansion. Nice. And then straighten the elbow out if it was bent. Trace yourself back in, and let's do same thing on the other side. So arms like this to start, and then we are going to, so hips and knees at 90, making sure core is stacked, ribcage and pelvis, there is that control, and then sliding forwards just to get that back body expansion. Nice. Feel it. You need to know what that feels like so that when you do this, so sliding back into your bow and arrow. I'm too close to the wall here. So there. You can check and see, did you lose your back body expansion? And if you want, you can cactus. And if you want, you can take it into that angel. Nice. And your back body expansion. Nasal breathing. Still good to bring it low. We always want to be trying to connect our pelvis and rib cage. A lot of disconnected pelvises and rib cage. And it's that internal forces, internal pressures that connect them, not just the muscles on the outside. Nice. And then we're going to come back out of this. So that is kind of what we call a passive stretch. We have to do something to work it and seal the deal, close the circuit. So I'm going to get you to grab a weight. You may want to do this without a weight, but we're going to stay in this position of 90-90 legs. Good. So option to use this weight. This is a 10-pound weight, which is actually a good place to start, but 5 pounds, no pounds is also okay. Your right hand, I'm going to get you to lock it in here because we are challenging this now. I need more core. So hold your hand, squeeze your knees together, get yourself a wall. And then what we are going to do is try to go back into that rotation that we just trained. You're going to bend your elbow and hold here. So this is getting that line of tension. It is going to want to pop you. Don't let it. Make sure you've got that back body extension. Staying in this rotated position, you're going to press up, breathe out, and then breathe in and come back. Slow. This is your eccentric, lengthening under tension of pec major, pec minor, letting that shoulder blade wrap around you, go to the back. Good. Make sure you've got your back body expansion. Core is on, it's not an option. And then pressing up. Let's try about 5 of these. So 3 more. Coming back down. 2 on this. That eccentric. Lowering down without losing your core. Pressing back up. The more intense something is, the more we can get eccentrics, the more it uses prefrontal cortex, the more we're going to get that neurological change, which means we won't be fighting our pecs all day. Breathing out. 1 more. Releasing this, and let's go try the other side. And over time, I always do this. Sorry, you guys. We probably still have about just under 10 minutes left. Um, oh, I never get it all squeezed in, but hips and knees bent in this position. Strap on with this side. I need your core. That tension in the front is what creates and keeps that expansion in the back. Setting up this arm up here. Good. Can you feel the back body expansion to start with? And then as you breathe in, you are going to rotate back, keeping that elbow kind of high. The shoulder blade must roll with you. If it pops forwards and the shoulder blade doesn't come back with you, it won't feel good. That's pec trying to keep this forward. Shoulder blade back, arm back, elbow up at about shoulder height. Check on your back body expansion. 2 on this. And then pressing up. But we're staying rotated through the spine. We're just doing this single arm press. We have 4 more. Breathe in, pores on, back body expansion, shoulder blade journeying around that rib cage. Good. Pressing up. 3 more. Slow, eccentric. See, clear winners for biological change and neurological change. They're what keep our tissue young. So good for, for brain activity, cognitive function. Pressing up. Lowering down, slow. Often it'll feel a little shaky here because it doesn't know how to lengthen under tension. This is not a passive stretch. This is brain and body being involved. Pressing up. And we have 1 more. Shoulder blade must go back though, if the arm goes back. Good. Check in your back body extension. So you want a weight with that where you don't feel anything sketchy. You feel like you're working, but you're in control. Okay, swimmer's hovers. So we've just opened this. Let's bring it into more of a compound movement. We're just doing a swimmer's hover and then kind of a modified squat, and then we're pretty much done. So you can sit, you can stand. I'm going to do kneeling because I do like this. Wherever you are going to stack your pelvis and rib cage. You want to think about a nice tall spine. Just going to bring this up so you can see me a bit more when we hover. Good. Okay. So long back of the neck, chin is anchored down, pelvis and rib cage stacked. Can you feel back body expansion? Good. Then you're going to bring your hands behind your back. So they are just back of your hand into the small of your back. You are going to keep this zone 1. So this is a radiation. Core is on. There is a wall there. There's just activity in your core. Spine is tall. Head on your shoulders. Good. And then shoulder blades are going to come back. Did you lose your back body expansion? If so, go get it back. Hands are going to come off your low back. Did you lose your back body expansion? Keep breathing. This is the tug of war. Then hands go out, pressing the hands back as far as you can without losing your back body expansion. Then thumbs turn up. Good. Then all the way up, scraping that back wall until you get up to your high Y. Back. Shoulder blades down though. Spine is still tall. Ribs are still back. And then you're going to hinge in. You're going to try not to touch your head if possible. Keep those shoulder blades down your back. Good. Away from your ears. Lovely. And then you're going to hinge out again. Good. You're going to turn your thumbs down. Good. You're going to scrape that back wall. Good. Rib cage back. Shoulders down. You're going to hinge in. Try not to touch your back yet. Hold there. Take a breath for me. Good. And hands rest down and relax. Nice. 1 infinity hover, which means left hand behind your back, right hand behind your head. This is a little better biomechanically because it helps to stabilize the rib cage a little bit more, gets more oblique forces. This is more life. So same thing, tall spine, rib cage back. Breathe into that back body. Nice. Then elbows come back, hands come off. You have your back body expansion. Arms straighten out. Nice. Turn your top thumb down, bottom thumb up, and switch. Keep those arms back, but the rib cage must stay back too. Hinge in, try not to touch your head. Hinge out, shoulder blades down. Top thumb turns down, bottom one turns up. Switch for me one more time. Back, 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 back. Hinge in and relax. Good. Lots of training, big patterns, small patterns, hitting lines of tension. We are going to finish this off with a squat. However, I would suggest that people have either a book under their heels, or if you have a slant board or a squat wedge, something like that, when you raise the heels, it is much easier to keep your rib cage and torso upright. The more we come forwards, the more we tend to go into our back extensors. So elevating the heels is an option unless you have an amazing low game. I'd like everyone to keep their torso up. The only thing is, before we do a squat is what we call undifferentiated, which means I'm asking both of my legs to do the same things. The only thing is, we often know if you did our hip shifting, we have 2 different hips. So if we squat, it's often, it, if the hips aren't the same, it may go into your pelvis, steal it from your pelvis alignment, steal it from your low back. We're just going to do one hip shift in this position. So I'm going to get you, even if your feet are on the ground or if your feet are on a book, to just put your right foot an inch behind your left. Then I'm going to get you to put your weight on that right side. So you are lateralizing over here. You're then going to turn your pelvis belly button towards that side that is back. You're turning your rib cage. Rib cage is back. You're nice and stacked. This arm, everything is off to this right side. And you are going to breathe in and lower down. And then just hang out here. Your right hand, you could touch this, grab it, pull it. You know, we've put a lot of work into accessing, training, teaching this tissue. The more you feel this, the more your brain can figure out what to do with it. And then on the breath out, push through your whole foot and come up. Then Breath in, you're still lateralized, you're on that side. Rotated to this side, through the pelvis, through the rib cage. You can hold on here, you can even pull on the sit bone. Breathe in as you come down. That is a hip shift. This is AFIR, pelvis moving around that hip. Breathe out and up. Switch, compare. We're always hunting for symmetry, slightly bringing that left leg back. Weight on that left side. Turn the pelvis to the left side. Keep stacked. Turn your rib cage to this side. Then breathe in. Keep the weight on that left side. It often wants to shift back to the right. Don't let it. The left is often the one where we actually have less. We might have bossy, tight, angry muscle on the right, like me, but the left, we actually often have less of a hip shift, even if it's quiet. You're breathing in, feeling expansion, bring that air low. You can use your hand, go give it some sensory input. Sensory is the fuel for motor. And then breathe out, breath in. You're on the left side, rotated to the left through the pelvis and rib cage. We got to keep this three-dimensional. If we want to be able to move efficiently and comfortably, we need to access all of these three-dimensional positions. Breathe out. Then an option, if you want to load it, and we're just going to do a squat. So put your foot, lift your toes, spread them wide, reach them long. Even if you're on a slant board or a book, best to get a little bit of a tripod. Big toe pad, little toe pad, center of the heel. Knees are soft, pelvis and rib cage are stacked. If you have a weight, you can use a little bit of a serratus reach. So all I'm doing is pushing the elbows forward, which helps to bring the rib cage back. Nice. And then we're just going to breathe in, breathe into your underpants, your butthole, your back pockets. I want that expansion. And when you breathe out, from the bottom up. So press your toes into the ground, pelvic floor lifts. Let's do a few of those. Breath in, foot expands, bum expands. Back body expansion, do you still have it? And then breath out, press through your toes, pelvic floor lifts. Let's do 3 more. Breath in, foot expands, lengthens, widens, bum expands. Back body expansion, still got it. If not, use that serratus reach. Breath out. 2 more. Last one.
All right, and that is done. Again, if you have questions, you can throw them in the comment section, but that should have you feeling more mobile, more supported, more in control and connected to your body. And if you do want more content like this, I have lots of free videos which you can find at the link in my bio.